See, there we go. So just to take it from the top, welcome everybody to the IAAC Open Day. My name is Violeta Rivera. We are recording this session for people who couldn't be here. I will introduce super quick our academic CEO and director, Daniel Ibanez, who is currently presenting the Institute for Advanced Architecture of Catalonia. With that being said, I'm going to give the microphone back to Daniel. Just 1 second. Ooh, sorry, where's my mouse? Just 2 seconds. I'm having some technical difficulties here, guys. Sorry about that. There we go.
So as I was saying, welcome again from Barcelona. This is where we are, and welcome everybody that is joining from many different geographies around the world. It's a pleasure to be here with you. My name is Daniel Ibanez. I'm an architect, doctor of design from Harvard University from a few years ago. But most important, I'm also an alumni of this very same house. I was once several years ago as a student, and today I'm very happy to be directing this beautiful institution. As we were saying, the Institute for Advanced Architecture of Catalonia is a center of education, research, and innovation that imagines, designs, and prototypes the future from Barcelona to the world. As I was mentioning, we are a very unique place because it truly combines not only the important part of education and academia, but together with cutting-edge research and innovation projects that we do with our partners and industries. If you click next, Violeta. So for over the past 20 years, IAAC has evolved into an institute that is devoted to shaping the future of our habitat for our society and building it with the present from now. This means that we use speculation and experimentation in order to imagine what the future might look like and how we can use that information to design and create change today. So in a kind of nutshell, IAAC is truly devoted to inspire architects of change to envision, to prototype, and impact the future. So at IAAC, we always have had a very particular methodology to do this. We are devoutly interested in playing simultaneously with multiple scales, from the molecular, from tiny experiments, from details, all the way to the territorial repercussions. Needless to say, passing through the very important scales of building and urban designs that are core to what we do. And simultaneously, we try to approach these with a multiplicity of disciplines. If it's true that primarily we are in the design disciplines, meaning urban design, architecture, we engage very directly with engineering, with fields of robotics, ecology, material biology, and many other important disciplines that complement what we do today. There are 6 values that defines what IAAC is today that I think they are very powerful to understand who we are and what our DNA is. First one is this idea of advanced technology. We basically are always ahead at the forefront of the innovations that happen with the digital and technical worlds. We try to be always very radical. We like to challenge conventions and imagine new possibilities. We are also in a way very transversal. We embrace, diversity as a kind of like a driving force. We like to be very responsive, meaning we don't wait too long to propose a change. We'd like to act very swiftly. If there is a revolution in AI happening, IAAC creates the best possible program to really tackle those kind of like questions. So you will see us always reacting fast. We work towards a regenerative paradigm. I think we are starting to gradually move from the sustainability paradigm to a truly regenerative one that really takes into consideration those kind of like nature kind of values and creates symbiotic relations with them. And last but not least, we are deeply rooted in a making culture. At IAAC, we don't just simply theorize or speculate abstractly. We do with our hands, with our robots, with our machines. This is a place of really truly learning by doing and learning by making. Next. So all of this happens in the amazing, beautiful city of Barcelona, that, as some of you know, next year will be the world capital of architecture, and also is a historical place of architectural and urban innovation. The term, actually, urbanism, was coined in this very own city in 1867 by Ildefons Cerdà. We are super happy to be within Barcelona, in probably one of the most innovative districts, the 22 AD, that we like to call the kind of Silicon Valley of Europe, the Silicon Valley of Barcelona, where many cutting-edge institutions are also surrounding us in this amazing place. Next. So let me give you a little bit an overview of some of the research and development lines that we have. You would see later on, when our academic director explains the academic offer that we are presenting today, you would see that at IAAC we engage with really important research and development lines, topics that we consider crucial for the current moment and for the future. And you would see all of those represented in the different programs that we are offering to you today. So the first of those is this idea of the bio-based advanced construction. We are seeing, almost a booming in the importance of building not with fossil fuel materials or materials that are coming from fossil fuels, but really changing to the bio-based kind of like paradigm. But we like to do that not only building with timber and with hemp and with natural materials, but also doing that with the highest of the technologies, with advanced technology. So in a way, we use digital computation, advanced construction, robotics to really try to create the architecture of the coming years. Next. Another key topic, very important for us as well, is this idea of the circular and nature-based design. So, questions of how to decarbonize the built environment, how to, create more resilient cities that are able not to only consume resources from all the other geographies around them, but also produce their own energy, their own food. Here in this image, you are seeing a couple of projects that we have developed recently. One creating 3D printed furniture that is helping to decarbonize the built environment, or the project Comida, which is basically a vertical orchard, a vertical structure, 3D printed, that produces food in underutilized urban spaces. Next. We also engage very deeply in questions of advanced bio and circular materials. We have a whole research line at IAAC that is very revolutionary and very important, where we deal with what are the new materials, what are going to be the players that are going to be the kind of basic unit, the basic component through which we build the next years of buildings and cities. In the image, you see a couple of examples. One that are upcycled foam bricks. That is a project that some of our students developed in one of our masters last year. Or Renew, which is another project that you see on the right that promotes the circular economy for construction demolition waste, focusing on, in this case, on materials like concrete or brick. So you would see a lot of agendas revolving around this idea of advanced bio and circular materials. Next. We also are well, let's say, known internationally to being the ones that are translating the potentials of robotics that are happening in other industries and applying that to architecture and design. In the image, you see a couple of, kind of exercises. We have many multiple access robots in our building that enables our students to really sometimes 3D print, digitally craft, and really use the technology in a variegated ways to really produce and design the future for architecture. In the image of the right, you also see at the moment one of the largest 3D printed earth houses that are happening in Europe, a TOBA project that was done also with many of our kind of like former students. Next. But also, we are not concerned with questions of materials or circularity or technology, but also we care deeply about data and questions of how the information layers, of course, in architecture, but also at the urban level, plays a very important role, mixed with questions of computation and participatory and inclusive processes. This is another line that we have been developed a lot through our academic programs, but also a lot in research and European projects. Next. Very recently also, we have seen the emergence, the boom of artificial intelligence. I would always say that the IAAC has been dealing with artificial intelligence for the last 10 years now. Maybe it's more kind of recognized with global changes, but at IAAC, we have been really at the forefront of that transformation for quite some time. So needless to say that, this is a key area of research and a key area of development that we are doing, combined with also questions of, virtual reality, augmented reality, and pretty much all the new digital technologies that basically enable us to produce, to compute, to interface between the digital and the physical world in nuanced ways. Also, as I was mentioning, if IAAC is highly recognized globally from its very beginning, also is to basically underpin all our research lines with the idea of computational design. We think that, this is not a new revolution, but it's still changes that occur almost every day are enhancing the capacities that designers have to do and to transform the built environment. So at IAAC, throughout all of our academic programs, this is a key component. We want every student that joins us to really be extremely skillful on everything that pertains to computational design as well. So finally, I want to mention, as I was saying, that IAAC is a center of education, a center of research, and center of innovation. When I said that we are a center of research, is that at IAAC, we all, we have more than 40 projects funded by the European Union, by public authorities here as well in Spain. So you would see that many of the innovations that are happening sometimes in the academic environment also find a way forward through these European kind of like projects. We like to think that everybody that joins us at IAAC is a change maker, somebody that could create innovation, know-how, and could find ways of developing and exporting that kind of knowledge through these, publicly funded projects such as EU projects. So with that, I hope this gives you an overview of some of the content, some of the strategic lines that we have at IAAC, and how those are informing the programs that we will introduce to you in a minute. So without this, I'll pass it again over to Violeta to tell you a little bit about our facilities and what are the things that you can expect when joining us here in Barcelona. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel, for your presentation. So yes, I will take it over now to talk to you a little bit about our facilities and a little bit more about the application and admissions process here at IAAC. So we'll start with our Pujades campus. We have two main areas in the city of Barcelona. The first one is the Pujades campus, where we have more than 2,000 square meters of an ex-industrial space, which is now a factory of ideas to implement ideas and projects to answer some of the challenges we face today. In addition to this space, we have the IAAC Atelier. It's just across the street from the main IAAC campus, and this space is dedicated to our students and our researchers, where they build real-scale prototypes and organize presentations and demonstrations. Also, in addition to this, we have our virtual reality, augmented reality, and material labs in the IAAC Atelier. We also have the beautiful Valdaura campus with 140 hectares of forest located in the Collserola Natural Park, right outside of Barcelona. There we prototype self-sufficiency, looking at integrating the fields of energy, information, and fabrication. And the Valdaura campus is also the home to our Masters in Advanced Ecological Architecture and Advanced Construction. Since you guys are not here with us, we're happy to share a video of the Valdaura space with you guys. Let me know if you can see it. Just 1 second. So that's just a small glimpse of the Valdaura campus, where we have, a different biolab where we're working at. As part of IAAC is also part of the global Fab Lab network, which spans over 1750 Fab Labs around the globe. The Fab Lab mission is to give access to tools and knowledge to people to be able to educate, innovate, and build, make almost anything. But certainly the most important part is to shape a positive future for our planet. So being part of this networks allows us to also apply our multi-scalar and multidisciplinary approaches in design. Within the IAAC, the Fab Lab Barcelona was the first Fab Lab in Europe, and it's also the largest one. It is a fully working fabrication laboratory with different stations such as CNC milling machines, electronics lab, and also laser cutters and laser printers as well. So a little bit about the engagement that we make part of, how IAAC is globally engaged. We are globally connected. IAAC collaborates with high-ranking international education and innovation centers, and this includes the University of Jeddah, Elisava, and EADA Business Schools, which are universities from which we collaborate in different educational programs and educational ventures, as well as the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, UN Habitat, and many, many more. We also host periodic lectures that are open to the public, but also for our students, where we host international guests once every 2 weeks or once a month, where we have the opportunity to discuss their advancements and ours. An example of a few speakers that we've hosted recently include Carlo Ratti, Alison Brooks, Chris Perk, and many, many more. IAAC is also host and is also participant in renowned international events where we present and discuss our developments. Some of the events where we participate is the Venice Biennale of Architecture, the Responsive City Symposium, Smart City Expo here in Barcelona, the Fab 10 Foundation, and many other events around the world. In regards to our global community, as you guys saw, we are a very international community. We have students that come from more than 45 different countries around the world to create an incredibly multicultural and diverse group of change makers. And these change makers come together with the IAAC staff. We too are an international group of people that comes from more than 22 countries. We are highly motivated to shape a positive future for our planet, making the IAAC community extremely, extremely diverse. We have a very extensive alumni network as well. Our alumni network spans through the different corners of the world, and we are very proud of also our alumni ambassador program, where students that attended IAAC are available to be contacted by potential students. When you visit our website, IAAC.net, there's a special place for our alumni community where you will find the IAAC ambassadors. You can contact them via email or via LinkedIn as well. Perfect. So now I'll give a very, very quick overview of some key information regarding our applications and admissions processes before we move forward with program presentations. So very quick, the two main eligibility requirements to join IAAC. First is the minimal level of studies, which is a bachelor's degree in fields related to architecture, design, computer science, urbanism, as well as engineering. Here we have an asterisk because we have welcomed students from other fields in the past. They just need to have certain criteria or certain knowledge to join us. If you have questions about this, you're more than welcome to contact us, but usually a bachelor's degree is the minimum requirement, for you to join IAAC. And then, as you can see, we're speaking in English. The official language academically and also informally of IAAC is English, so we can all communicate. So therefore, English in spoken and written proficiency in English is required. The application process is very straightforward. The first thing is that you have to choose a program where you want to apply for. You register your application in our or your email. You start your application in our applications portal, which is apply@IAAC.net. You submit your application information and your documents. I'll go over the documents in a minute and what they are. You schedule your interview. The second phase of the application includes an interview with the academic team of the program you're applying to. And then we usually give a response regarding admissions within 2 to 3 weeks for our students. So we have a rolling application-based system. So for those who want to know, the application documents that we require include a CV or a resume, a portfolio or a sample of work. So for those in the architecture field, you guys know what a design portfolio is. Sometimes we have engineers coming in, and for those we require a sample of work. We also need a letter of motivation. We need 2 letters of recommendation that can come from academic or professional sources. We need a scanned copy of your bachelor's diploma and a scanned copy of your passport. These are the only 7 mandatory documents that you need to submit in order to apply for one of our programs. Really quick overview in regards to our scholarships and funding opportunities. The first one is the IAAC scholarship competition, which is a competition-based event that is very interesting because you guys get the chance to propose solutions and present ideas to certain topics that are related to the masters that you are applying to. This competition will open on January of 2026. So definitely keep an eye out on our website and also in communication that we send you guys via email to see what the competition will be about the next academic year. In regards to this, we also have the Women in Tech Fund, which is open for women or individuals who identify as women. And the idea is to support gender parity in the technology sector with a particular focus in robotics, data science, architecture, and digital fabrication. And last but not least, we have our merit-based grant, which is based on the overall profile of applicants who are submitting their application for that year. So our scholarships are partial tuition waivers, and students who are qualified can apply for this. So before I give the floor to our academic director, Areti Marco Polo, I just wanted to let you know about important news, which is important dates. This academic year, we have an early decision period, which is currently underway, and it's going to close on the 10th of January of 2026. So if you're interested in applying to IAAC for the next academic cohort, I definitely encourage you to submit your application before this date in order to, if you are accepted to IAAC and you commit early to being a student for the next academic year, you can enjoy an early decision discount of 5% of the total program fees. So this is something to have in mind. January 10th is not the last day to apply, but it's the last day to take advantage of this discount. With this being said, I am going to open up the floor to our academic director, Areti Marco Polo. She's going to give us an overview about the renewed academic portfolio for IAAC. So at IAAC, we don't wait for the future to come, we prototype it, and with this, we have some news about the academic content and the academic programs that we will offer next year. So let me just mute myself, and then Areti, you can go ahead and present and let me know when I can go into the next slide.
Thank you very much, Violeta. Thank you also, Dani, for the presentation. I am Areti Marco Polo. I am also an alumni. I am now actually sitting
Areti,
in
we
the
don't
airport,
hear you.
so you cannot hear me?
No, we do.
Oh,
We can
Dani,
actually.
everybody does.
Yeah, we hear.
Yeah, we do. We do.
No, yes, sorry,
Okay.
sorry, my fault.
I was just saying that I am sitting at the airport. So what you see on an image of our great facilities is not where I am actually are. I'm traveling for one of our European projects that Dani has been explaining, so I apologize in advance for any background noise. Both Violeta and Dani has been mentioning, we are very, very excited to launch a renewed academic agenda. As you have been hearing from all my colleagues, IAAC as an educational and research center is committed to tackle the causes, but also to develop solutions towards the current and very complex planetary challenges. And we do that with a very rigorous, with a cutting edge exploration of the possibilities that we can find in the territorial, in the urban, in the architectural, and in the material system. So multi-scalar, as you have heard, but also with a very strong objective towards resolving, inventing, innovating, and prototyping the future. So our proposal that we launched this year is based on the fact that there is one common DNA among all our programs. Each of the program is following the objectives of developing, inventing, and sharing solutions for the pressing challenges of our society and our planet. But each one of these master programs have a different format. So the first one is our Master in Advanced Architecture. The Master in Advanced Architecture is the first master that has been founded at IAAC. It's our flagship program. It's a program that its format is based on the fact that the educational experience can be tailored. And that means that there is a very unique academic agenda that could be customized based on the interest of the students in terms of scale, in terms of expertise, technological expertise, etc. Our Master in Advanced Architecture basically integrates what two main aspects of the work that we are doing, and that is architecture and urbanism, as well as robotics and technology. The second format and the second master program, which is the Master in Ecological Architecture and Advanced Construction, is our immersive educational experience. You have already seen our facilities. One of our campus is our Valdaura campus. And while in the Master in Advanced Architecture, we learn out of making, in the Master in Ecological Architecture and Advanced Construction, we learn out of living. So students live and work at the same place. They are connected with the nature that surrounds them. They are working on understanding what are the local resources and how ecology could be reinvented by architecture, as well as how advanced technologies such as robotics could be integrated to materialize it. The third master program is our Master in Advanced Computational Design. Okay, sorry. I have my slides reversed. Okay, so the next master is the Master in AI for Architecture and Business Innovation. And that is a master which format is very much focused on the entrepreneurial experience and entrepreneurial education. So it is a program that combines architectural education, urban and technological education, merging it with a business development school which collaborates with us, and business innovation. So entrepreneurship through architecture and AI, in order to create a program that supports students to go outside and create their own businesses, to create their own startups. The fourth master program is a program that has, okay, just to make sure that I am going to speak about the next program that you have in the slides. It's our online educational experience. So it's the Master in Advanced Computational Design for Architecture. It's a master which is very much focused on the power of computational design, the potential of computation from parametric design to environmental simulations, to AI, to BIM. And it's very much focused on offering students that they are not able to be in person at IAAC and live the experience to study that online. The last master program is the Master in Design for Emergent Futures, which is the master program connected to the Fab Lab Barcelona, to the Fab Lab experience. The postgraduate of Fab Academy is another program, and here the program in collaboration with Elisava Design School is a program that is seeking let's say, the basis of how design could contribute to not just answer, but create questions, and of course, develop through the Fab Lab network and through digital fabrication technologies, new novel solutions for the future. With that, I believe that we can conclude this presentation. Maybe one last thing from my side is to say that, as you can see, technology is a core of our work. However, it is never the end goal, and technology is transversal to all our programs. But IAAC, since its birth, it has always been at the forefront of questioning the basis of architecture and design, and as I said, to confront difficult but significant challenges of our world. So technology becomes a medium, but it's not the end goal of everything that we do here at IAAC, and we are very, very happy to welcome you, everybody, in Barcelona next year. I will now leave the floor back to Violeta, although I think I am the next one to speak, correct? So continuing then and presenting one by one our master programs. I also have the pleasure to present the Master in Advanced Architecture because I direct the program. I am an alumni of that program many years back. I will be sharing my screen, if that is okay, Violeta, with a short presentation. Give me 1 minute. Can you all see my screen?
It's loading. Yep, we can see it now.
Fantastic. So the Master in Advanced Architecture, it builds its 26th edition, is the first master program that has been founded and created by IAAC. And as I have been explaining in the different formats of the master programs, it is a program with a very unique academic structure. There are a series of design studios, seminars, and workshops that they range from the material or the biome scale to the building, to the territory, to the planetary scale. And as students, according to the expertise and interest, they are able to choose and create their customized academic path. So sometimes, things that we might believe that they don't merge, they can create very novel paths towards the future. So for example, somebody that is very much interested in studying urban, at the same time, they can also take a studio or a seminar about robotics and try to see how two topics that initially might not seem to fit together can develop and create skill set for students to continue developing novel work. In the Master of Advanced Architecture, my slides were not moving. I think you can see them now. We are following the challenges that I have been mentioning before, issues of urban growth, contaminating and consuming buildings, the fact that the construction sector is the biggest waste generator in the planet, or the inaccessibility to issues and basic needs such as housing and the population growth are issues that they are asking us to rethink how we design, how we build. And the Master in Advanced Architecture does that through a methodology of combining design, creative design, architectural design, and science. Advancements and expertise from material science, computer science, or synthetic biology and digital manufacturing, among others, are basically tools that become a collaborator together with the architect in order to rethink architectural solutions. The master has high-end content in design studios, seminars, and workshops, and there are three main design studios and research agendas. The first one being the urban planning and data analytics. So within that research line, we promote the emergence of urban and territorial design solutions that they respond to global challenges in a variety of contexts, but also work with the power of big data. They work with understanding how data-driven or evidence-driven analytics and planning for the urban could allow us to take more informed decisions for the future of cities. The second research line is the robotics for ecological buildings, and here we experiment how not just robotic manufacturing, but digital manufacturing can contribute to sustainable building and set a new paradigm of construction. The third research line is the digital matter and the circular construction, where we are working on exploring novel material and metabolic systems for rethinking architecture as a dynamic and as a resource productive organism, rethinking architecture as an entity that performs biological operations as living organisms do. So you see that there is this kind of range from the material to the building to the urban scale, and a series of optional seminars from working in collaboration with Sagrada Familia or the experts that they have continuing renovating, they're continuously renovating Sagrada Familia, to expertise that comes from digital woodcraft, advanced algorithmic design, or biodesign are some of these optional seminars that allow students to create their customized agenda. And then the second year of the Master in Advanced Architecture is the year where students develop either individually or in pairs a thesis agenda. The second year is a year that our goal from IAAC side for all our programs is to create this applied research connections. So we have a series of industrial partners, but we also have challenges that industries and collaborators bring on the table, and that together with our students, we are working to develop the different solutions. Many of the projects and the theses that the students are working on could also be connected with European funded and current research that we are running at the Institute. So it's an opportunity that students become also active researchers in our place. Very quickly, the different topics and research lines that we have in the second year: advanced manufacturing and architecture, focusing on automation, refab, design for disassembly, and of course, digital fabrication. The algorithmic design in architecture with keywords of big data, platforms and interfaces, data-driven design and data simulation. Advanced materials in architecture, from bio materials to circular or even smart materials, to build and understand the future of materiality in buildings. The digital urban landscape is another research theme that is focusing on biodiversity, on nature-based solutions, and of course, ecological monitoring, simulations, and predictions. The interactive architecture that is working with that idea of neuroarchitecture or emotional analytics, as well as immersive environments. And last but not least, robotics and advanced construction that tries to develop new paradigms of industrial production and human-machine collaboration. Of course, 3D printing architecture that for some years now has been operating as a postgraduate program at IAAC becomes one of the research lines of all the master programs of IAAC, not only of the Master in Advanced Architecture. And here students would have the possibility to work with the potential of additive manufacturing, material innovation, of course, large-scale 3D printing. Timber architecture is another research line that is very much connected with the advanced manufacturing as well, in order to promote one of the most powerful materials for the future and one of the decarbonizing materials. In the second year, there are also seminars and workshops. Sorry for the background noise. sorry for that. The series of seminars and workshops in the second year, they have the goal to support the thesis that the students are developing, and they go deeper into computational, technological, but also fabrication skills. There are thesis advisors, and they are experts that they are coming from different disciplines. And it's an opportunity for students to work with all these multidisciplinary, let's say, experts that are meeting here at IAAC. A series of tools and softwares that I will not get into. This you can all find it into our booklet. But maybe finish with this slide, which is one of my favorites. Many people always ask what they can do after the Master in Advanced Architecture, and here is a selection of alumni and projects and different, let's say, paths that each one of them took, from creating their own startups to establishing their own architectural offices, to moving towards research and academia, as well as to become partners with institutions around the world and promote a much more socially driven agenda in their work. So we're very happy to have you joining us, and any question we can talk, or you can talk with the coordinators of the program, Gabriele Giurevesiute and Kevin Matter, who will be able to answer your questions at the end of these presentations. Thank you very much. I hope the background noise was not very annoying, and I give now the floor to Angelos Kronis, Director of the Master in AI for Architecture and Business Innovation.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Sorry, Angelos, I just wanted to introduce you, but I'll give you the microphone very, very quick. Thank you so much, Areti, for this introduction. I would like to introduce Angelos Kronis right now, who's going to present the Masters in AI for Architecture and Business Innovation. This program is co-directed by Areti Markopoulos and Angelos Kronis. Please go ahead. Sorry to interrupt you.
Thank you very much. Am I sharing slides, or is Areti sharing slides? I'm not entirely sure.
I am sharing my slides. Let me unshare, and
it's up to you.
I think I need to unshare though. Just 1 second. Let me stop sharing.
Can everybody hear me well, by the way?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. So hi from my side. I hope you can hear and see me okay. I'm going to share the slides in 1 second. You can see probably I'm here at the Smart City Expo, the NVIDIA Dell Pavilion at the AI Factory, which could be a better setting for talking about the Master in AI for Architecture and Business Innovation.
That's great.
Yeah, I have to be here for the expo, so I just found the room for that. So yeah, welcome everyone to this presentation of the relatively new Master in AI for Architecture and Business Innovation. It's directed by myself and Areti Markopoulos. It's also a 2-year program, 1 or 2-year program, and it's sort of like latest master's development program in IAAC. It's a very new program, a very innovative program. Here we go. So what the master's is trying to do is prepare us all, the students for sure, for the future of architecture, and also the future of the business of architecture, and how it will be affected by artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is really storming our professional and personal lives these days. So it definitely is a challenge to figure out how we as architect planners, professionals of the built environment, can actually use AI to empower ourselves to add superpowers and be able to address the main challenges that AI is bringing to us. And it's a collaboration between IAAC and the EADA Business School. So it's a sort of like a dual degree. You're also getting a degree from the business school on business innovation, which is, I think, really important, especially when we're talking about AI. The Master in AI for Architecture and Business Innovation really offers sort of like unique opportunities to not only understand AI, to learn how to develop AI tools, but also how we can apply them in our industry, how we can change the way our industry works. And I think that's one of the most interesting things one can learn in this program, how to not only use the technical skills, but also the sort of like theoretical and conceptual, let's say, tools to really change the way we design, we conceive, and we build architecture and buildings. And main challenges on essentially the architecture, engineering, construction industry that AI is bringing are going to be addressed. We have a network of cutting edge and leading partners that bring these challenges to us, and we're trying to address them with projects that we're doing in the masters and preparing ourselves for the future of the AI-driven industry. Of course, there's, I think, no doubt that after this masters, you change the way you see your career, you build new ideas about how to develop further as an architect, as a planner, but also there's the important opportunity of building new ventures, or building your own startups, your own essentially companies or even organizations to change how we design and plan. And that's why we have this very strong industrial partner network that brings value in our program, and also helps you understand your own work's value. I think that's one of the most interesting things that we hear from previous students, is that we've changed the perspective of what they conceive as the value they bring to this industry. So, as I said, real world applications, we have a network of industry partners that is constantly growing and brings active projects and real world case studies and business ideas to the students. Every semester, every year, we bring our partners to essentially bring the latest challenges that they're facing to us, and our students, with the help of a great faculty, are trying to address these challenges. And it's one of the most interdisciplinary courses that I know out there, because it's really trying to bring architecture and planning, AI and computer science, but also business innovation, environmental sciences, and planning together to produce solutions that we probably have never thought of before. And it's also very much practice oriented. Again, as I said, like the network of industry partners is not just bringing us idea, but also taking students as interns. All of our previous students, the first year students of like previous course, are like now working in great projects all around Europe, and they're already getting hands-on experiences of how AI can change industry and address challenges. And that's why we also have another component to this course, which is this entrepreneurial mindset, where we actually help students understand what it is to build, join, or sort of like prepare for a startup, to showcase work to investors, to engage with essentially the incubation program and the accelerator that we're bringing in. Very quickly, I'm going to talk about a little bit like sort of like the curriculum and the faculty. We have three main vertical themes that we are trying to address, because AI is definitely the catalyst, but what are we doing with it is the most important question. So there's three main vertical themes. It's urban technology, anything around the urban infrastructure and built environment, from mobility to energy, from nature to IoT devices. We're looking at smart cities and smart sort of like infrastructure, but also then looking at construction, how we change construction, robotic fabrication, other components that really change the way we build buildings. And of course, the last vertical is also very important. How do we bring back nature through AI to cities, and how do we empower essentially the natural ecosystemic living? There's also horizontal objectives, which are essentially going through all the different verticals. Regenerative design. Design has to be regenerative. It cannot be constantly using new resources. Neutrality of carbon neutrality is hugely important as we approach 2030. None of the targets we've set are actually matched. And of course, social cohesion, co-design, participatory development urban development is really crucial here. Here, a little bit about the academic structure of what we're doing. Of course, all of it is situated within IAAC's in-person program. It's situated within IAAC's great, let's say, academic and environment and infrastructure, robotic fabrication, digital fabrication, and physical prototyping are all part of the program. It's not just about code and software, it's also about hands-on work. And there's a lot of sort of like engaging activities that are happening in the masters. Like we bring lectures together from leading industry partners, and especially on the AI side, leading figures on the AI that bring new ideas. But the structure of the program is a little bit like this. The first term, we looking at urban tech, but we are like also getting our hands dirty with AI models. We're like learning how to use urban data and how to actually train models with them. The second term, we're looking at construction and materials and how we can use, again, data from, say, BEAM and other sort of like sources to train models and to address challenges in the construction side. And then the third module, we are like in the third vertical, so the terms are divided by verticals. We're looking at AI sort of driven nature-based solutions, but also data-driven synergies between sort of like software and natural systems. And the second year program was also very interesting. We have an internship that happens in the first term, and then the second and third term, the thesis development takes over a lot more. In the third term specifically, we have also an accelerator. I'm going to talk about that in a second. I hope I have more time about that. And then, so like the three components that also go in the second sort of like year is this research internship, the thesis, of course, the master's, which is the most important thing that happens throughout the year, but also this accelerator. We're very happy to have Impact Hub actually organizing this. Impact Hub is a network of hubs that like really change the way we do impact entrepreneurship. And they are accelerating our startup ideas. And this year is going to be the first accelerator held by Impact Hub and IAAC. So we're very proud of that moment. And then, of course, there's a lot of like expert mentoring, and there's an actual demo day where we're presenting to investors, we're presenting to our startup ideas to exposed to actual potential investors, and hopefully getting funded to really build your own venture in IAAC in the next couple of years. About our faculty, a little bit like these are thesis advisors. Sajay Bhushan, very well-known programmer and also associate director of the Architects, has been really pioneering work in the ZHA code group. Is leading our thesis advisors for the second year, and also together with Wasim Jabi, more than 20 years, 25 years experience in this field. Great development of computational design systems for architecture and built environment. I have also one more minute to showcase. I think if I have time, I'm going to skip through that. The video. I don't know how much time I have, but I'm going to play the video so that everybody sees that.
The architecture, engineering, construction industry is one of the most impactful industries. We generate more than 40% of all greenhouse emissions, and yet we still have so much room to grow and innovate.
The Master in AI for Architecture and the Built Environment is a unique program that explores how artificial intelligence and data-driven design can lead to a more sustainable and resilient future of the built environment.
Data is actually at the core of this conversation, and architects have always been collecting data.
Artificial intelligence has this ability to find patterns within very complex sets of data that actually allow us to see much more from the world that we can with our two eyes.
The program pioneers novel AI-driven solutions that helps us to respond to today's challenges and set up a new standard of design processes that they are more environmentally but also socially conscious.
From planning a city, understanding its mobility patterns, reusing its energy, being able to optimize the movement of goods and people, down to nature and how we can empower it.
It feels like the technology and the actual technical side is removing itself from the conversation, and the ideas are the winning piece.
Creativity is what we're looking for in this program. This is what essentially will drive the AI solutions of the future.
Developed by IAAC and supported by EADA Business School, The master offers a unique curricula that integrates architecture, artificial intelligence, and business development.
IAAC is developing the Barcelona Urban Tech Hub, which would be a startup ecosystem to basically bring those ideas and innovations to the next level, to generate economic impact and change in very tangible and commercial ways many of the developments that we do currently at IAAC.
Innovation is nothing else than commercializing creativity. And this is also the intention of this program, that will not only be highly creative, but also will be producing ideas that people will want to buy.
Having in the program leading industrial partners allows us to be in touch with the reality of the industry and understand the problems that need to be solved today.
With close ties to the startup ecosystem, the program offers unique opportunities to students to pitch their ideas, to launch their own ventures, but also to engage with industry leaders and professionals.
We want to change the status quo and say, from the business need into the idea.
Being situated in IAAC, with its digital fabrication and robotic facilities, the bio-laboratories, and the AR/VR capabilities, while at the same time bringing novel ideas of working with data, will undoubtedly lead to groundbreaking projects for architecture in the built environment.
You cannot imagine how transformative the experience in IAAC is and how it's really changed your way of thinking, how you can start thinking a new solution for the same problems that architecture has always had.
Architects have always been dreamers, and this technology has a way to make people dream.
We're going to be able to take you into a journey of understanding a world of data and empowering you with the ability to figure out patterns and find within that data processes and solutions that will completely change the way you build, design, and plan cities in the future.
To critically think on the use of digital technologies and be capable of making a significant and positive impact on the world. That is the goal of the Master in AI for Architecture in the Built Environment.
I think I don't have more time.
Thank you, Angelos, so much for that presentation. Thank you guys for those who are clapping. Fantastic. So let me share my screen again, just to quickly introduce. Can you guys see my screen? It's loading. Okay, just a minute. Okay. It's not working. Give me just 1 second, but it was basically a slide to introduce. I'll figure out what's going on next, but it's a slide to introduce Michael Salka, who is one of the co-directors of the Masters in Ecological Architecture and Advanced Construction. He will be presenting his Masters now. Michael, can you hear us? Let us know if you are able to share your screen.
Yes, I hear you well, Violeta. Can you hear me?
I can hear you well.
Excellent. Thank you very much for the introduction.
Super. Let me mute myself and stop sharing. I need to stop sharing so you can share. Perfect.
Excellent.
Fantastic.
And hopefully you see my slide full screen now.
Yep, we can see it.
Wonderful. Okay, start the clock. As Violeta said, my name is Michael Salka. I am one of the directors of the Master in Ecological Architecture and Advanced Construction, along with Vicente Guayart, one of IAAC's founders, and Alexander Dubor. The key thing to know about this particular program that differentiates it from our others is that it's hosted at Valdara Labs, which is an estate of 135 hectares here in the greater 8,000 hectare coastal and natural park that's just to the east of the center of Barcelona. We're headquartered in this Masia, or traditional Catalan farmhouse, that has since been renovated to feature a fully fitted digital fabrication lab alongside a more traditional industrial carpentry lab. And together, these facilities mean that our lab is not bound by the walls of the building, but actually encompasses the surrounding ecosystem within the metabolisms. We use the word metabolism here to indicate the processing of energy and matter to sustain life in the broadest sense. These videos will play in the background while I speak over. They should give you a sense that the experience at Valdara is not only contained within the curriculum, but extends to this aspect of learning by living in our community. That includes learning how to farm and work the land around you, learning how to source your own materials from the forest, as well as learning how to build a community with the global cohort of students that come from far and wide to join this unique experience. Speaking of that cohort, we begin with a global community that brings a really rich background of traditions from their home countries, as well as different disciplines. We welcome ecologists, biologists, social scientists, economists, and activists, and a diversity of other profiles alongside architects, urbanists, and designers here to try and take this holistic approach to the transformation of the built environment. And they join either one of two versions of the program. Like some of the other masters, we have a first year 9-month program of 60 ECTS that culminates in the construction of a full-scale building, which I'll describe further. We also have an optional second-year extension that allows students to focus more specifically on a particular thesis of their choosing. Within this context of Valdara and the surrounding valleys and ecosystems, we try to close all of these metabolic loops, finding opportunities to take what would conventionally be considered waste, whether that is uncaptured water or energy that comes from the sun or outputs from our kitchen or our building projects, and to bring them back into value-added streams, to find ways where those wastes can become resources, acknowledging that the idea of waste is really a lack of imagination. And we see these kind of cycles of life that we implement within our campus as being prototypical for how we see cities at large operating, from the scale of buildings up to urbanisms and then entire territories. This is particularly viable in our estate because the forest might appear wild and mature, but the reality is it's a heavily manipulated ecosystem. Not long ago, the monks that inhabited this land cleared the hillsides for agriculture. So what we're working with is a very young and disturbed ecosystem, which is quite representative of most of the forests across Europe and the developed world. So we begin from understanding these land transformations, as well as looking at all scales at the inhabitants of these ecosystems, both human and biological, understanding especially trees all the way from their molecular structure through to their role within these communities of biology. And we work directly with specialists like this ecologist, Gerard Pasola, to identify individual trees that play a particular role in the ecosystem. Specifically, we're working with these pine trees that are the first to inhabit after periods of disturbance, like we saw, and serve an additional role in founding the next generation of ecology, but ultimately shade out other species that add diversity, the hardwoods that grow more slowly. So by selectively harvesting some of these trees, we can accelerate the ecological succession or the maturation of this ecosystem that would happen naturally in due course, but over thousands or tens of thousands of years, we can speed that up to a human timescale. So we go through this process of selecting individual specimens, recording all of the data that we can about them, because we know that as soon as we make an intervention, that record is lost, as well as needing the information like their volume to be able to strategically plan the kinds of constructions we can produce. And then we tie that narrative through from the individual tree, starting to map how they might correspond with potential building structures or building elements, becoming intimately familiar with the material in a qualitative and aesthetic and intuitive sense, but also understanding practically and quantitatively how it can start to substantiate our structures. And then we condense the entire value chain of engineered timber assembly within our site, all the way from harvesting through tracing those individual trees to producing engineered assemblies like this 14-meter glulam beam you're seeing as part of one of our previous projects. Doing that all ourselves allows us to maintain this record all the way from that individual specimen through to a virtual model corresponding to every board within an advanced prototype building. So it's a very detailed and higher resolution version of ideas like material passports. This allows us both to count carbon very specifically and to create dynamic relationships between our design decisions and their dimensions and geometry and the carbon footprint that we're affecting. It also allows us to embed stories in our projects. For instance, this very simple augmented reality app where you can scan this individual wall, identify it with the tree that it came from, learn about that tree, its purpose in the ecosystem, and of course, go back to that point in the forest and check that we've had the intended effect through its extraction. With these different approaches in mind, we go through a collaborative, competitive process to identify a singular building at the end of the year. that will become the capstone design build project. We work heavily with model making and prototyping. We go through the process of understanding, again, how those forest resources, how what the forest wants to give us can help to substantiate that building and its particular structural elements. Slide is stuck a bit. There we go. We incorporate also time-honored techniques like passive thermodynamics, looking about how even in small spaces we can arrange our overhangs, apertures, and habitational elements to take advantage of different thermodynamic flows. Working with multifunctional envelopes that provide both shelter, protection from wind, water, and as well as privacy, and contain our utilities as well. And then we also go as far as the systems, programming our own photovoltaic installations, our circular water systems that, again, capture all of what would normally be effluent and repurpose that, as well as information systems, realizing that because these projects are autonomous, they provide the majority of their own resources. That doesn't necessarily mean they're primitive. They can still be connected to informational networks. We then conceive of how all of these elements come together in an assembly, as well as anticipate how they might be repurposed at end of life, planning circularity into all of our connections and possible future pathways for these materials to either be reused as building elements or cascaded into elements like furniture. We then prototype all of these different components from foundations using alternative systems like local stone through to envelope and wall systems that are using structural wood from our local forest, as well as insulation and finishes from local forest resources, and as well as those utility systems I mentioned, informational, water, and energy. Then once we have all these elements prototyped and proven, we go through a rapid fabrication process as a team and construct these buildings. And I'll now quickly tour you through some of our previous results from the new house in 2019, through to the voxel, a cabin designed for quarantine in 2020, through to a solar greenhouse after we had designed some houses for people. We wanted to design a house for plants that incorporates both photovoltaic energy and a cyclical irrigation system, to an ecological observation station designed in partnership with a canopy biologist from the US called Meg Lohman, through to a mobile home proving the integrity of these materials even in motion on a highway. This is Mocha from 2023. More recently, we wanted to become more technically enabled at our lab, so we built a workshop for a robot that we called Cora, or the Cathedral of Robotic Artisans, again using regional timber, but with more parametric geometry. And then most recently, our first offsite project, this forest stone cabin, which has the wonderful picture window that looks at the Pyrenees Mountains in which it's situated and contains a very cozy interior, also using local sheep's wool and other elements that are sourced from those kinds of value streams of the region. But we need to keep in mind that these projects are small, though they are conceived as prototypes. They're meant to scale up or be implemented and replicated elsewhere. So that's achieved both by working with leading practitioners, for instance, Summa Arquitectura, the winners of the EU Mies Award in 2024 for the Gabriel Garcia Marquez Library in Barcelona that employs these same principles of regional engineered timber at the urban scale, to design large-scale buildings, learning from them how these same principles that we prototype can be applied in urban settings. Also understanding how those prototypes sometimes directly become buildings. For instance, we see the solar greenhouse our students built led to an exhibition about the potential for rooftop agriculture across the city, which then manifested in a rooftop greenhouse serving this social housing building by some IAAC colleagues, including Vicente Guayarta, which is now the tallest engineered timber social housing building in Spain. That brings us then to our second year, whereas the first is focused on the viability of these alternative approaches to create real-world buildings. Our second year becomes more experimental. Students are able to choose between a series of different research groups so that they get some complementary feedback from peers, whilst being able to choose their own independent topic of study. Those thematic groups include 3D printing architecture, working with large-scale earth printing, robotic and advanced construction, working with milling, mosaics, and placement, advanced materials, working with dynamic and responsive material systems, algorithmic design, more focused on the combination of computation with these ecological materials and processes, as well as metabolism and ecological architecture, which relates to sensing and then responding to environmental fluxes. And we also try to embed students directly with the tools that they will use facilitating these research selections with seminars that give them expertise in things like research methods or AI or BIM as is applicable to their particular research project. And then also placing them directly with companies or producers that in most cases offer internships, which can lead towards career positions after the fact. So that here you might be on a very radical pathway, but nonetheless situated within a practice that is creating real world buildings to see how these research lines can create practical change. Some of those highlights include some familiar names like Heatherwick Studio, whose humanized approach to architecture has much in common with our social ecological approach. Some other more local actors like Ceramica Cumea that uses robots to produce incredible ceramic objects, or some that are more on the tech end of the spectrum, for instance, KUKA and Autodesk that are innovating the tools that we use in order to bring these natural materials into contemporary relevance. I think that is the extent of my time, so I'll stop here. And of course, I'm happy to answer any questions in the breakout room. Thank you for listening.
Hello. Thank you so much, Michael, for sharing about the amazing program and the amazing experience in Valdaura. Let me share super quick again my screen again. Hopefully this time we won't have any problems. Let's see. Can you all see my screen well? Fantastic. So I will now be introducing David Andres Leon, who is the director of the Masters in Computational Design for Architecture. This is an online experience. So it's an online program that takes, plays completely digitally. It doesn't take place in Barcelona, but the idea and the goal of this program is to train a new generation of architects, engineers, and designers with the latest digital softwares that the industry of architecture, engineering, and construction demands. So David, please let me know if you can share your screen and if your microphone is working well. I'll stop sharing mine now. Just a second.
Thanks, Violeta. Can you just give me a quick check if you can hear me, and then also if you can see my screen?
We can hear you well, and your screen should be coming up any minute. Let's see.
Let me just put it in the right format for TV. There we go. Yeah, I guess that's better, right?
I still don't see it.
It's
coming up now. Now it's coming up. Perfect.
All right, great. Thanks. Thanks, Violeta, for the introduction. Thanks everyone before me for the super nice introduction to the other programs. I will speak about the Masters in Advanced Computation, Computational Design for Architecture. It's still a little bit of a challenge for me and for us because we've changed names. For those of you who were in tune with what we did before, we were the Masters in Advanced Computation for Architecture and Design. Now the Master's been renamed, but this is our 7th edition really. And we will still basically call it MACAD dearly in a way. It's still 100% online accredited program, train a new generation of experts with the skills that the AEC demands today. So that we will continue to do, and we've done that for 7 years, providing 60 ACTS of accredited master's degree fully online. The MACAD, which we'll still call it that for short, it's a program which you can follow synchronously, live in lecture, following live lecture tutorials and live mentoring sessions, or asynchronously by looking at recorded sessions and attending the live mentoring sessions. Both the formats you will always benefit from the online campus platform where everyone is anyway interconnected virtually. This is the courses that we offer, which I will talk in a little bit more detail in a little bit. But the main idea is that the program is divided into 3 modules. The one that deals with advanced computation for environmental and structural design, it runs from October to December. January to March deals with the building information modeling and smart construction, which is really digital technologies over in AEC. And then the 3rd module deals with artificial intelligence in architecture, which is quite comprehensive. And then finally, we also have a thesis project that runs from September to December, which is in a way an extension to the program, as you will see. Just so that you know, to make clear how the program works, if you join the synchronous format, you will be able to attend the sessions live. in a schedule from 10 to in the morning of Barcelona, roughly, give or take. And then if you join us synchronously, you can watch the recordings on your own time and then attend the live mentoring sessions in the afternoon of Barcelona, which is more like a common time frame for everyone. It's an online campus experience, which is very interactive and dynamic. It's not one of those courses where you just basically take on your own and follow at your own pace. It's meant to have the same feel and taste of a master program. And that's why we actually devote a great deal of time into building this community feel and make sure everyone is integrated. Part of that is that we're really proud to host a great variety of nationalities and backgrounds, which diversity is increasing year to year. And also such diversity also manifests in the talent that we've amassed as faculties to provide the top shelf expertise in the topics that we teach. Many of the faces that you see here, faces that you surely recognize from if you're in the AEC industry, and this is just amongst many others that are teaching nowadays. Also, speaking about our tools and collaborators, we're also pretty proud to show off some of them with whom we have close relationships and also ongoing collaborations. And I'll talk about more about the tools and the content of the masters, which divides into these 3 topics. First of all, for the first module, the Advanced Computation for Environmental and Structural Design, we deal with the topics of complex forming, environmental analysis, and structural optimization. Complex forming meaning the very basics of parametrical design and the core of this form finding with Grasshopper and all of the tools that come with that. Structural optimization deals with the principles of engineering and asset optimization as well. And the environmental analysis, it's basically dealing with the most advanced tools in order to provide contextual information that can be embedded as data to our projects. The studio puts all of this together into a development of a studio project, and this happens throughout the masters. And it's a group development of a project that is comprehensive in terms of everything that the students learn throughout the module. In the BIM and Smart Construction module, we have integrated modeling, data management, and collaborative workflows. Integrated modeling deals with the main concepts of BIM and basics of Revit and interoperability, interoperability with Rhino mainly, which is the main tool. Cloud-based data management, where you learn to basically deploy Grasshopper definitions in the web with the use of Rhino Compute. And collaborative workflows, where we use tools like Speckle and others to engage with the most renowned and avant-garde tools for collaboration in the AEC industry, which is something that is very important. And again, the studio puts all of this into practice in pilot, provocative, innovative projects that are challenging these concepts that we teach throughout the module. And finally, last but not least, I'd say the artificial intelligence and architecture module, which deals with the hottest topics of AI, so to say, generative AI, data encoding, and graph machine learning. Generative AI deals with the core principles of generative AI in terms of LLMs and generative images. You will learn basically to do this opening the hood, not just as a user. Same goes for data encoding, which basically teaches the core concept of machine learning, which you should know if you really want to consider yourself an expert technically in terms of AI and machine learning. And maybe the novel or niche topic of graph machine learning, which actually teaches you to represent architecture or design in general, such as cities as graphs, which are elements that you can then later process also with machine learning. Again, this is all put together in a studio project where you then learn to develop and deploy a tool using these concepts, always with a focus to make this knowledge that you learned usable and shareable for others. Last but not least, we have the master thesis, which is an additional module from September to December, where you will basically learn to extend and apply these topics in an industrial scenario along with industrial partners. And then you will develop projects like this, which would be deployed projects that are actually aiming to make a real contribution to the industry. And this will happen actually by hand with the industrial practice that we have, some of which we've already talked about before. We have many publications already in our young 7 years, and many followers already in the social media, which we also hope you join us to keep up to the latest of what we do, and provide an opportunity to join us in a reunion in Barcelona at the end of the year. Invite you to the graduation. This is not mandatory, but it's an amazing opportunity for you to meet your online peers all together, and also the rest of the IAAC community. I think I've done my best to stay in time. In any case, if you're still left with with a bit of the feeling to know more, please join us in the breakout rooms afterwards, where Laura or I will try to answer your questions as best as possible. We really hope to hear more from you guys.
Thank you so much, David. Yes, before I introduce the next program, just wanted to remind everybody that we will have breakout rooms after we finish the presentation of each program. In each breakout room, you will get the chance to speak with the program coordinator and the program director and ask more specific questions. So thank you again, David. I will go ahead now and let me share my screen. Introduce Saúl Valles Argüello, who is the co-director of the Masters in Design for Emergent Futures, which is co-organized by IAAC and Elisava School of Design. It's also hosted by FabLab Barcelona. This program positions design as a tool for social, ecological, and technological transitions while showcasing the lab's global leadership in digital fabrication and open source culture. So Saúl is the co-director on the side of Elisava. Saúl, please let me know if you can share your screen, and let's do also a microphone check.
Yeah, I would love to share my screen.
Super.
Let me know once you can see it. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can see it. Perfect, Saúl, please go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So yeah, basically my name is Saúl Baeza, and I'm the co-director of the MDev, the Master in Design for Emergent Futures. And besides that, I'm also running like different platforms. One of them is DAS, a studio that we work with digital identities and algorithmic resistance, which I also hold a PhD on that for the University of Technology in Eindhoven. And I'm also run another curatorial platform called Maybe, and I'm the editor-in-chief of Visions by magazine. That you will see that some of the topics that I'm going to be sharing are like pretty related with the things that we do at the Master. So basically the Master of Design for Emerging Futures, we ask ourselves every year or every day, I will say the same question, which is, should we continue designing in 2025? So we all know that we live in a climate crisis, we live in a political crisis too, and an identity one. And still, obviously, we have a responsibility, as designers and architects, building things and proposing perspective into this world. And that's something that we understand that it comes with big responsibility. And basically 8 years ago, 3 different institutions came together in order to understand how to design for those emerging futures and also possibly for those other presents. And this is FabLab Barcelona, as you know, is like part of the FabLab network, like worldwide, IAAC and Elisava, which is a design and engineering university also from Barcelona. So that is like super important and special within the master, because it means that all of our students, you're going to be part of all those 3 different institutions, and you're going to be able to connect with all the students, staff, and work within both installations at Barcelona, IAAC in Poblenou and Elisava in Las Ramblas, in the full center of Barcelona. So yeah, basically the Master in Design for Emerging Futures, it's going to be running his 9th edition next year. So we invite you to join us. Here, like some of the main important topics for us and the way that we understand the course and the proposal that we make you to join us, which is we don't understand a future that is to be consumed, but to prototype together. So that idea of togetherness, and not the individual perspective, but that idea of others and how do we engage with others will bring a lot of work in terms of like situated design perspectives, and how to engage with different communities, and not just within the city of Barcelona, but of course, worldwide communities that we can like really merge with them and understand which are the challenges that they present and how we, through those different design perspectives that we will sharing, can be part of that. Something super important is that the master is based on a really critical perspective of everything that we do and that we build as architects and designers. So the idea is that if you come to the master, the idea is that you can challenge the way that thing works today. So we're always based on trying to understand how we can critically understand what we do today and what is that we are proposing for that tomorrow. And third, that is super important for us is that everyone that comes and joins us, our program, we want you to become a unique hybrid designer. And that means that obviously we really like people coming from really different backgrounds, from like a super interdisciplinary perspective, and that you bring with everything that you've been researching, all the knowledge, all the practices, all the activities and things that you've been developing within your life until now, and you use the space that we propose within FabLab infrastructure, within IAAC and with Elisava to really build and root your own projects and background and interest and turn them into impactful ideas and activations. Something that we also like to clarify is that the idea of futures doesn't mean that we are speculating with the futures, but we try to obviously create spaces to embody those alternative presents. And here the idea of embody is like really important because one of the best or the most important things for us within the master is to work with what we call first-person perspective, which is like really using our own bodies and our own experiences as the main drivers of the change that we are proposing. So we will really be pushing everyone joining the master to work with that kind of embodied perspective in order to not just speculate and think which other futures are possible, but to basically work actively and presently into those alternative presents. Also, we try to understand and we try to project that we don't design objects. We like to co-design ecosystemic relationships. The idea of an object that is something that is produced and commercialized and that solves like a certain specific problem, of course it can exist, but basically we look at other ways of correlating ourselves with the things that we interact with. And that is like everything, you know, from the environment, from the people that inhabit with it, and all the different intelligence and species that are part of those ecosystemic relations that we plan to build. And again, it's like we are not in a race, competitive race for solutions. We're basically trying to come together with different minds, with different perspectives, with different ways of living and understanding our realities. So we are in that collective quest for meaning. So of course, the master is going to fully build on like a really practical ways, but also ways of critically coming together and really engaging within conversations and knowing other realities and trying to understand which is our position and our subjection to all those different environments too. So basically for us, it's like really important, even that you're going to be handling a master project, even that you're going to be involved in a lot of like different projects and things that are going to build your full portfolio. The idea is that we want to empower you to shape your own path and hybrid profile. So for us, it's like super important that there's going to be a lot of different references. We're going to have amazing people coming, super challenging spaces in terms of work, and try to develop and ask ourselves what's next and which are those other different ways of doing. But basically, we really want to empower yourself from an autonomous perspective to really shape your own path. And you will have the opportunities of being presented to a lot of different things, and you're going to be the one choosing which are like the different directions and how you're going to be building your own academic journey and hybrid profile within the master. So basically, we are in the run of prototyping alternative presence. And in order to do so, basically for the full idea of prototyping, because that's something that is part of our DNA in the master, is that we are part of the Fab Foundation. So of course, we're part of the FabLab network, and that means that we are not alone in the quest for prototyping this alternative present, but we are part of a big network of more than 2,500 different labs worldwide. These are like some of the images of which is our reality here in our space, within the different spaces, both at Elisava and IAAC, where we try to physically prototype all those different ideas and critical positions that we're going to be reflecting on during the course. And here's more or less kind of a visual definition of the trip that we're trying to present. So for us, it's super important, that idea of the scale. So there's the personal scale that comes from the person to the home, to the neighborhood that we're navigating, to the city that we are part of, to the country, to the region, and basically to the planet. And at the same time is how we are going to be from one term to the other through the different activities, courses, and people that are going to be joining us, how we're going to go from that idea of like motivational context, no, that idea that we start in time, to that kind of product intervention that we end up producing, and how that same intervention has an effect on time. So all that kind of mappification of which is the reality and the trip that we want each of the students to do and to perceive during the master is how do we plan everything that is going to be happening. So basically here again, we try to go from this alternative presence to those emerging features and the other way around. And basically in that direction too, we have a first year and a second year. The first year is going to be fully based on exploration. So we're going to be getting in contact with a lot of people with a lot of different perspectives, doing a lot of like different courses that now you will see. And there's a second course, which basically you're going to be fully focused on developing your master's thesis. And of course, you can also do this into different grounds, which you can build a more scientific ground, more connected with economic sustainability of ways to bring those ideas alive. And also all of them expected to have that kind of sociological impact. Also for the second year, it's super interesting to understand that you are not going to be, again, alone. There's going to be the full infrastructure of the 3 universities with you, but at the same time, we're going to be inviting specific tutors and advisors that will work with you in order to fully develop each of the ideas and projects that you plan to create. So basically, the program is structured, it's divided in this 4 phases, which is explored, build, apply, and reflect. Here you have some of the different courses that we're going to create. So for example, in Explore, we have the concept of extended intelligence. So we want to be rethinking cognition, machines, ecologies, and beyond consumer AI. We'll also work a lot with the topic of other species, entanglements of life, matter from soil to synthetic life. Then build. We're going to have a lot of cognitive orgies, which is basically what we're going to be doing in the Fab Lab, no, together with the Fab structure, which is going to be about like prototyping, failing, but basically being hands-on, developing the different things that we want to bring into life, dissecting systems through making. Of course, you're going to be introduced to all the fundamentals of digital fabrication too. And basically, you also have another structure, which is apply. Apply is run through the design studio, Design Studio 0, Design Studio 1, and the 3 different presentations that we're going to have at the end of each trimester, which basically allow us to have the backbone of all the things that we are going to be developing. So there you're going to be directing all your thoughts and becoming that kind of hybrid profile through the project that you're going to be developing. And then we have the reflection space, where we also have super intense courses on like living with your own ideas, designing with others, situated design practices, the Atlas of Weak Signals, which is a full methodology that we're going to be used to tracingly subtle shifts, shaping our futures. Then you're going to be working on your own narratives, looking and finding your own voice and cultivating your own online communities. And of course, we're going to have insight stalls by a lot of like different thinkers. And in connection to this, you're going to be able to fully develop a final festival that you're going to be curating as students in order to showcase all your work. Of course, all of that is based on a granted network of a lot of like different people that you can also check on the website, with a lot of like different profiles coming from different platforms and spaces to really amplify everything that we do. And here I'm just going to share some of the videos that you can check from the different activities. This is the design dialogues. This is a space that we, again, curate an exhibition and we create a moment so people can come together, faculty and different experts that we bring in order to be with you. And basically, so you have this moments of sharing with them different perspective, what you are doing, and you receive a live direct feedback on the different projects that you are like developing. Then for us, it's super important, and each year we build a research trip. That research trip is something that we just don't go to a certain path, but we also bring the lab with us. And during that trip, we're like researching for new meanings and a really situated perspective. For example, here we're seeing videos from last year research trip into the Italian Alps, where basically for a full week we were following water. So we started in a glacier, like super high, and then we were following how that water ended up in the Iseo Lake. through them, through all the territory we're understanding, which are like the powers power that water brings with it, and how it affects to different socioeconomic systems. And finally, I'm going to be sharing a video of the last MD Fest that was organized at Tres Xemeneies in Barcelona, where all the students were able to curate the presentation of the final projects. And of course, we invited like a lot of like people, staff from the master, and interesting people that can be connected to the different topics explored. And they were in charge of developing all the full curation of the festival, the narrative of it, and of course, the final party for closing it up. And yeah, I just invite everyone to check the website of the master, because then, for example, if you want to read that QR code, you're going to have access to the website that each student builds. And in that website is kind of an ethnography process where you will find from past years, and also now the students that we have right now starting the master, you will be able to see what do they do almost daily, like following the different courses that they do. All of that gets translated to that kind of wiki space where everyone else can be, learning from what we learn, and then we share in that kind of open source structure everything that happens within the master. So I think it's a super interesting way to see the evolution of it and the different results from the different courses. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, again, I will be part of the breaking rooms, and I will be happy to answer all of them.
First, Howard, thank you so much for sharing this. You guys can take a scan of the QR code, but just to point you to the chat, the coordinators of each program have also been sharing information and important links about each program in the chat. So definitely don't forget about it. Now, last but definitely not least, I would like to introduce, can everybody see my screen? Yes. The postgraduate degree in digital fabrication, or Fab Academy Barcelona. This program is directed by Santiago Fuentemilla. It's a digital fabrication and rapid prototyping course, translating ideas into prototypes and into products. Santi, are you?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect, Santi. Let me stop sharing my screen.
Good.
And you can share yours.
Super. Can you see my screen?
Not yet. It's coming up.
Okay. Let me share again. It's loading.
Perfect.
Okay.
We can see it now.
Good. Fantastic. Thank you very much to give me the opportunity to present Fab Academy program. I will try to be fast because I'm the last one. Probably people is willing to chat with the other directors, also knowing a little bit more about the programs. As you mentioned it, Fab Academy is a postgrad that is related to technology and how do we learn with digital fabrication tools and machines. I'm alumni also of this program, the same as some other directors that today they present some of the masters. And this is a kind of like particularity because it's a program that runs for at least 12 years. So it have the capacity to help like getting skills to most of the people that is connected to the Fab Lab world. And at that moment, it was kind of revolutionary in terms of educational perspective. So the idea behind the Fab Academy, it's what if learning felt like making? So what if we can explore other ways of learning and the making it's embedded in there? And this was what Neil Gerfingel in MIT prototyped it more than 15 years ago in a program that he was mentioning or call it how to make almost anything. So that experiment that it was just for MIT students and it was focused in training technical people to kind of like be autonomous in their labs. Suddenly and unexpectedly start growing. And in the kind of like following years, they discovered that there was more students from outside of the MIT than inside of the MIT. And this was the kind of like starting point that they think they start evolving or imagining a kind of program that can empower the people, not just inside the bubble of MIT, but around the world, just to give skills and tools to the people to become a producer and to have a critical perspective of what the technology can do and what how the technology is made out. So that was the kind of like moment where FAP Academy starts as an independent program with the same content of how to make almost anything in MIT, but with the new dynamics. So it's a 6-month program. It's hands-on. It's designed to learn by doing. And the idea is that through the exploration during small projects, the students, they will develop, let's say, the skills for being autonomous and critical with the technology of nowadays. So with over 10 years of experience, so Fab Lab Barcelona has become a global benchmark of the FAP Academy experience, acting as a node or as a super node, connecting and mentoring labs around the world. And we can see this because almost, well, a lot of people that goes through the Fab Academy in Barcelona programs nowadays is in other Fab Labs that are in educational institutions or companies that they use these technologies and these innovative spaces for research, for prototyping, for learning, for manufacturing. And as a program, I think so. It tries to get into the boundaries of technology, and it does from the first person perspective. So it's the students that basically engage through curiosity, through failing with technology, and learning the basic tools and getting skills and knowledge in order to become autonomous and creative with these tools. So the program focuses on what we call FAP literacy, that is a collection of knowledge, skills, mindsets, encompassing not only the technical skills that maybe it's what it brings into my mind when we talk about digital fabrication, but also kind of like skills or soft skills that goes also related to when we create things, when we develop projects, when we prototype, that are soft skills as design thinking, problem solving, creativity, collaboration, integration, sustainability, resilience. So at the end, is this idea of being fluency with the language of digital fabrication. So I think so. What it makes the difference between maybe Fab Academy and other programs that we already explained during these sessions is that Fab Academy is designed to be for everybody. So there's no specific academic requirements for the enrollment. It's open to engineers, architects, designers, all kind of designers, or individuals from diverse backgrounds, from social science to arts to some other ones. So everybody is welcome to come or to delve into the possibilities of turning the ideas into tangible prototypes, like experiments, experiences or products, and of course learning into the process. Another kind of like point that I think should makes also difference is this idea of what we call distributed education. That this it have kind of like deep implications in the way that we conceive the process of learning. So in FAP Academy, each student attend a physical lab or node where they have contact with peers and mentors and access to the physical infrastructure. Today we are more than 2,500 labs around the world, and especially or particularly from these 2,500, so 70 nodes in 40 different countries are involved in the program. So This means that every year we have more than 400 students running or engaging in the program in different locations, kind of like bringing the knowledge into their specific context. Okay, so these nodes are connected into the global network using various tools and protocols, allowing for connection and for collaboration. And this it makes the network very tangible, enable students to interact not only in the local peers, but also as a vast global community. So what you see, let's say in the screen, so on the top part, we have the kind of the different nodes in one of our regular meetings, and on the bottom part of the screen, you see some of the last cohorts that we had engaging with in the lab. So the curriculum is kind of developed in 20 weeks. So, and each week it's a different topic. And in each week, the student is invited to kind of like a prototype with the technology in order to do a small assignment. And then at the end, the idea is to combine it in a final project in a way. And as you are seeing here, the topic goes from the basic digital literacy to fabrication and production processes, to understand the protocols for the interaction and communication, and going how all of these things can be kind of like impact or grow, let's say, with different different strategies for scale projects and to build infrastructures. So the students have the opportunity to build their own portfolios. So as the same as Saul was mentioning in MDev, so everything gets kind of like documented in the individual portfolios or websites that allows to kind of like grow or to kind of like develop a big repository of examples, knowledge that it's been developing for the last 15 years. So I think she does also exemplifies the different cultures and contexts of how the technology can be applied. These are some of the examples of our alumni projects that they develop, and we tend to kind of imagine that technology goes into the solving specific needs, and why not, but also FAB Academy, it's a kind of unique program in that it will not judge anybody for what they do, just in what they learn and how they do the things. So in here, I'm just like choosing one or picking one of the projects of last year or 2 years ago, students that it's a kind of like reflective exercise about how 3D printing technology it's being used, and how can you twist it, hack it for your purpose of sometimes joins, sometimes experimenting, learning, researching. So any kind of like project, it's welcome in Fab Academy. And I think the beauty is that our ultimate goal is to distribute knowledge and empower individuals and communities to make almost anything around the world. So we like to say that students going through FAB Academy courses not only learn content, but also learn how to learn, and therefore how to think and reinvent how they design and produce objects, dividing devices and interventions. So I think so that's all. Applications are open and the program starts in January 26. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Santi. Fantastic program. Well, guys, let me share my screen again. And here we go. All right. So thank you, Santi. Thank you to all of the directors who presented their programs. Thank you guys for your attention to all of these presentations. I just wanted to leave you with our email address in case you have questions about joining the IAAC experience and starting your application to join us for the next academic year and beyond. You can write to us at applications@iac.net. And now we're going to move over to the part that everybody hopefully was waiting for, which is the breakout rooms. This is a fantastic time for everybody who's interested in a program to ask specific questions, to get to chat more directly with the program director and the program coordinators. Thank you again, everybody, for joining this session. This concludes our open day. Our email is applications@iac.net in case you want to send us any questions about your application. We thank you again for joining us, and we look forward to receiving your application for the upcoming academic year. Thank you. We will be closing the session now.